Just a quick disclaimer, this entire video is going to be spoilerific if you have not done the new 24-man raid quest yet. I entirely recommend finishing the 24-man raid quest and then coming back here to enjoy it with the rest of us. If you don't care, then by all means go on ahead. But I felt I needed to give fair warning at least. So without further ado, let's begin. All I'm saying is that this had better not be the 7th heaven. After all the pages I've read about the 7th heaven being a realm beyond mortal understanding, where even the gods don't dare to dwell, it had better not have always been a glorified neighborhood. But hey, that's just me. So my friends, how does it feel to walk amongst the heavens and partake of the glory that is the 12? I can only hope my lessons help to prepare you for what you may expect, despite my limited knowledge. Even though the myths involving the 12 were always accepted to have the potential of being fabricated, it would seem our expectations weren't too far from reality. While not one-to-one, their existence isn't as unfamiliar as we may have believed. So today, let us come together and partake of what we learned from this brief encounter with 4 of our noble deities, and see what we can glean from their veiled words. First, let us address who and what the 4 beings we met were, because there may be some of us that need a refresher. The first opponent you face in this divine gauntlet was Bargot, the Builder. He's known as brother to Halone, the Fury, and the adopted son of Rhalgr, the Destroyer. Bargot was to be taught the ways of destruction by Rhalgr, but felt no affinity for this art, so he instead learned the tools of creation from Thaliak, the Scholar, and with that knowledge created the Spire. Indeed, to bear witness to the Spire means that we're walking through the 3rd heaven, also known as the Heaven of Lightning. It's said that within the Spire rest the spirits of revolutionaries, architects, and champions against evil. Meanwhile, deep below the Spire rests the 3rd Hell, where vandals, slumlords, and warmongers are struck by stray bolts of lightning and comets that fall from this heaven. Bargot asserted that he played the villain so that we would be inspired to challenge them. As the god of crafters, this makes sense. Being able to inspire and motivate people to do great deeds is within his sphere. But that brings us to the other god residing in the 3rd heaven, Rhalgr. It makes sense that Bargot would call Rhalgr his master since he was put in Rhalgr's care by Nimia, the spinner. However, the story between these 2 gods breaks off from our myth, as Rhalgr and Bargot seem to be on very good terms with one another. It's been stated in many stories that Rhalgr resented Bargot for ignoring his lessons and choosing to learn from Thaliak instead. Either this tension was eased long ago, or was never there to begin with. As for Rhalgr himself, he fell from the heavens as a mighty comet one day at the behest of Nimia. Rhalgr's might was to bring ruin to the reckless creativity of the young gods, and remind them that the world was not their toy. Ever since, Rhalgr has stood as a countermeasure, ensuring that no creation of the gods could ever threaten Aetheris. Together, Bargot and Rhalgr occupy the 3rd heaven, creation and destruction, 2 sides of the same coin that observe the world upon bolts of blinding levin. After overcoming the destructive nature of Rhalgr, we were beckoned into the 2nd heaven, the Heaven of Fire. Azima the Warden would be the one encouraging us to move forward. As Keeper of the Sun and Goddess of Inquiry, she would not disappoint, as she used her historical fans to cause even minor sparks to blaze furiously. Azima herself is the daughter of Althik and Nimia, as well as the sister of Menphina, the Lover. But her connections don't end there. Azima is also the wife of Thaliak, the Scholar, and as such became the mother of Limlane and Nafika. As a dutiful daughter, wife, and mother, Azima is a powerhouse of a goddess whose roaring flames are only matched by her maternal affection. It shouldn't be surprising then that she refers to the mortal races as her children, as she views all who bask in the sun's glory to be part of her in one way or another. Like the warmth of a mother's embrace, the sun's heat is meant to bring you peace and banish the darkness. But after satisfying her curiosity with a test of strength, she no longer bars our path towards the Endless City. This city was built by Azima and Naldthal, the traders. Of all the gods' appearances, this one caught me off guard. Throughout the many documents I've read, Naldthal was ever described as a singular, wizened merchant holding the scale. Yet this entity is possessed of a dual-aspected nature that my imagination failed to predict. Though I must say, I wasn't disappointed. As the keeper of coins and judge of the dead, Naldthal would live up to his reputation as the twin gods. He was created by the god Oshan, the Wanderer, to ensure that the souls of the deceased were judged fairly and moved orderly through the heavens and hells. Though it's worth noting that within his city, the souls of just, honest, and philanthropic individuals are allowed to take rest. But it's within the dark pits of the desert surrounding this bright city that the hell of fire exists. Wicked souls are cast into these dark places as the pits are set ablaze by the god's fire. Here burn the souls of people that unfairly judge their peers, those who tricked their customers, as well as men and women who gave or accepted bribes. They burn for however many people they wronged as their spirits are cleansed. So, now that we've caught ourselves up on their history and lore, we got a better understanding of not only the gods we encountered, but why they behave the way they did. However, this leaves us with a massive question. What are they? They assert that they're not primals, and I can easily agree with this. Their ethereal makeup doesn't seem to resemble that of a primal at all. If they were primals, defeating them and exhausting them of their aether should have forced them to disappear, since every primal requires an abundant amount of energy to maintain their form, regardless of the summoning method. This is why primals are usually so dangerous and powerful. They're a fire that burns twice as bright, but consumes more fuel than is considered efficient or healthy for our world. These gods not only recognize that this is how primals behave, but also understand what makes them so strong. But their knowledge didn't end there, as they also had a working understanding of Hydaelyn. Not only that, but Emet-Selch himself refers to the 12 in a casual manner, meaning that he's likely aware of exactly how they came into existence. So, we understand that the gods we encountered were born after the end of days, because talks to create Hydaelyn only occurred after the fact. We can reasonably assert that they are not primals. We can also reason that the Ascians knew about the 12, but didn't make any moves to stop them, meaning that the gods never directly interfered with their plans. Yet they seem to possess an affection for the mortal races and carry their own hopes and dreams. So, we need a method of creating powerful entities that likely only the ancients knew about, that didn't adversely harm our world. With all this in mind, I can only think of one ritual that fits the time, methods, and results almost perfectly. This is a ritual we've seen before, but only once. Some of you may already know where I'm going with this. Others may think I'm making something up. And to those people I'd ask, are you certain? Indeed, my friends, the Guardian Force known as Quetzalcoatl is an entity that checks off almost all the boxes we just brought up. If the 12 were indeed made similarly, then it would explain their power, longevity, and desire to nurture the world. If the myths of man are to be believed, then the 12 have always been here, subtly guiding and helping the mortal realms through every astral and umbral era in unseen ways. No matter how bad every calamity has been, it would seem that the 12 have made sure that the races of man would survive, our unseen guardians. But what's their true purpose? Why did they appear now? And to what ends did they invite us to their realm? I don't know the answers to these questions, but given time, we may find them on our own. I, for one, enjoyed the battles we shared during this event, and I look forward to seeing you all again in future heavenly raids. While questions might burn in our minds in the meantime, I'd say the mystery that comes with the adventure is part of the fun. So, let us walk unafraid into the unknown, just like Oshan, the Wanderer. Until next we meet, stay safe, my friends.